I am Eon. It is Sunday, October 26, 2025. As I record, we're getting kind of ahead of November 2025, and several people have already put out previews, so let's see what's coming. First up, we have Arbiter Miniatures. Arbiter Miniatures in November is doing Rat Men. Pretty cool models here, and these look like to be pretty nasty rat men as well, as though they are looking pretty much for a fight. Of course, they come in 3 different varieties, and we'll see these more as the month begins. The Beholder Miniatures has shown us 3 previews of a elf riding on the back of, is that a dragon? Is that a forest creature? A construct? I don't know, but still really cool effect. Definitely fits the model here. Here we have another model, which I believe may be part of the elves, but with a beard? Well, he's got the long ears, so be curious to see what this fella is. And for the kingdom here, I forget the name of the faction offhand, we have this really neat cart with a pretty proud high-stepping horse on the front. Belshazzar 3D Print has only given us a small couple of teaser images so far, so we can take a look and kind of guess as to what we think may be coming, but we know it's going to be awesome because it's coming from Belshazzar. Bestiarum Miniatures has given us this preview art. Really neat art. Is that watercolor, or I was never the artist that I would love to dream to be, but really cool to see where these twisted mind images take us in the month of November. Bite the Bullet Studios is going into the Forest Village in November, and you can see here all of the models you'll be getting. Some are pretty typical forest critters, and a couple maybe not quite so typical. For the throwback pack, you'll be getting this one, which I believe is from October 2024, if I remember correctly, but probably a little bit here, a little bit there. Again, really cool to see. In addition, they're going to be doing some scenery this month. We'll look at those models more when the month actually starts. So we have a turnips cart and a vegetables cart. Oh, I forgot to buy turnips this morning in Animal Crossing. And an edible bugs cart as well. Blackcrest Miniatures has shown us this preview of this mole folk. So I put a couple of early renders here. We'll look again at these when the month actually starts. Cast and Play has put out a video teaser of their November release, and that's Beyond the Grave. And these are, I believe, to be designed to be like RPG, D&D style miniatures this month. And these are pretty much zombies. Here's a zombified elf, a zombified dwarf, it's worn through his boot, poor fella, a zombified goblin. Is it eating its own entrails? And a zombified necro dragon as well. We'll definitely come back and look at all of the miniature releases in the month of November. Claudio Casini Art has put out their preview images. We have multi-race samurai warrior. So several different races. We have a lion folk summoner wizard. Is he growling or roaring? Here's an Aarakocra male warrior paladin. Looks very noble in his armor, doesn't he? Here's a male satyr faun, rogue thief pirate, whatever you want him to be, swashbuckler. And an aboleth creature, murking down in the depths. Clay Beast Creation has shown us Mind Flamers as part of their preview. In addition, this is a Fire Altar or Chariot of Fire. I believe you can call it either one. And a Warped Diviner. Pretty cool intrinsic model here. It does have 2 heads, right? Claymore Miniatures has shown us some concept art, so we're going to look at a few of them here. So, is this a dwarf or not? I'm not sure. Maybe some sort of paladin warrior and some sort of tiefling, and what looks to be like a witch hunter of sorts. And oh, look, a Demogorgon. Very appropriate considering that Stranger Things will be finishing up the end of this year, as well as several different types of riders that seem to be haunted or possessed, riding various steeds. CobraMode has given us a few looks. Here is Kotarin, Dorchin, and Tashkai. These are Totapari Outriders. Goric War Tapers. War Taper, you don't hear that every day. And Dargan, a Gorikon Warrior. Okay. Davale Games has shown us Dark City of Morlock. So apparently some orcs. I do appreciate the background image for this. It really fits the theme of where these guys come from. Here is Gori, the forest tribe's leader. Obviously part of the forest tribes. And the Galanther elves, Goloran and Romul. Just really nice miniatures, always from Davale. Dice Heads has given us a preview of some figures. This is a Badger Spore Druid. I never heard of a druid that focuses with spores, but I guess it works. Here's a Weasel Battlemaster, a Raven Shadow Monk, a Rabbit Ranger, Grandmaster Amberplume, Retired Duelist, Varia Tricktail, a Raccoon Wizard, and Grizzle, the Barkeep NPC. They had put him out as a concept art, but here's the finished model. Really nice looking figure. Dragon Trapper's Lodge has shown us the November preview, so looks like we'll be looking with the spores again. For the Trapper tier, I wasn't exactly sure what this is. Maybe undead? We have some mummies, and she seems to be like some sort of vine creature. And here we have a wizard casting different spells with their hands. And these are either spell effects or animated furniture. And here we have several different types of walls. Walls of fire, domes of air and ice. And is that like crystal or prismatic maybe? I'm not sure. Now, this piece I just wanted to pause on is just an amazingly beautiful piece of concept art. Like Dragon Trappers, if you ever watch my videos, you could probably like have prints of that made and sell, and I would be very tempted to buy it myself. I really like the look of that, where you have the necromancer in the middle and all of his warriors rising behind him. For the soldier tier, they're going to be continuing with the I forget the title, but the Mushroom Kingdom, basically. Spores and blights, and is that a chocobo, maybe? But obviously with fungus and infected, and these seem to be some ogres or something to that effect that have also been plagued with spores and mushrooms. Dragon's Lake Miniatures is doing demons again. These are the Yearning Succubi. And they come with a command group. The Cult of Pleasure. More Cult of Pleasure here for you. The Scion of Pleasure. I wonder if that's supposed to be done as a mirror. Like, is he checking himself out or getting someone else to check it out? Here's the Scourge of Desire. And the Scourge of Desire on horseback. Could you call that a horse? These are Bearers of Lust. I'm kind of losing track of how many hands, hooves, legs, feet they have. Duncan Shadow is doing Crowfolk in November. They come in several different styles. They also come as crowfolk with wings. So if you want your crows to have wings. These also come as multi-part kits. Again, wingless or winged, whichever you prefer. And what's really interesting is they have some extras. So you have some, what crows, those are crows, right, with the hoods. But then you have roosters and chicken folk and parrots even. I suppose it does work, though. It's really neat. These are a couple of random sculpts. I didn't know what else to call them, and there wasn't anything else that Duncan Shadow kind of called them either. Definitely just interesting models to have as well. And for the month of November, they are releasing some 15mm goblins. My, what big teeth you have. So a shaman, and these seem to be wolf riders, I believe, or wargs, some trolls. A couple of different style of trolls, and of course, what are goblins without some riding these types of guys? Dungeon Dog has given us a couple of previews. I believe the Bone Claw version B and C are part of the new upcoming November release. And there will be a bust, of course, which will be the Cloriture, I can't say that word, bust from the previous month. Echo Art is relatively new to my videos, so I'm still trying to figure them out. This seems to be like their catch-all image, but it seems like for November they're doing Forge of the Ironbeards, which are dwarves. And if you're doing dwarves, you have my attention. You always have my attention. I don't always buy. I love the double shield guy. I doubt he is any less dangerous with just 2 shields at his sides. Here's the guy riding a, is that a bear, I believe? And here's the king. Just really nice looking models. Epic Miniatures has actually shown us the update number 1 will be Swamp Adventure. We're going to look at a few of these models. We're not going to look at every single thing. But, so you get some scatter for the swamp, as well as some huts, some elevated roads, because, you don't want to be tramping around in the swamp, some boats if you are down below, and some toad folk is one of their big releases this month. They have lots of different types of toads, so if you picked it up from Cast and Play, that may be a good mixture of those. Copper Dragon Wormling, a Swamp Elder, a Slime Adventurer, very unique model here, but for anybody fans of JRPGs, Japanese role-playing games. A Garlic Druid. I have never seen this before. Swamp Eyes. A Boa Constrictor. On the left is an Amphibian Beast. On the right is a Snake Shaman. A Tortoise Swarm. It reminds me of my uncle of mine always talks about, I'm out of here like a herd of turtles. And I imagine he would appreciate that model. On the left is a Chupacabra and Vine Serpent on the right. A Toad Boss and a Topaz Dragon is the Dragon of the Month this month. Flesh of Gods Miniatures has shown us the Necroforge will be November's release. I'm not sure if this is sci-fi or fantasy, so I'm going to include it in both places. But we're not going to look at everything, because this is a Lich Engine, a Necrotech Wyvern, Bone Grinder Titan, Flesh Golem Machinist, a Flesh Auditor. Reminds me of the robot, the aliens in the beginning of Fifth Element. Necrotech Acolyte, and number 2, Necrotech Brute, Forge Engineer, and some Candlemen. Now the Candlemen definitely speak more fantasy to me. Here's Arcana, the Bronze Fists, and Braith, the Cog Breaker, and Albric, the Steam Priest. See, that to me looks science fiction. But Braith the Cogbreaker and Vaethar the Necrotech Master will be your busts in the month of November. Gamescape 3D has put out some preview images. Really cool looking scattered tower here. And this one, I wasn't exactly sure what to make of this. Maybe different tops for different pieces. But then if you look at this, you could just put these on the table as like little miniature heels. Things to just make the table not so flat. And I like that. I like that a lot. Here we have a rutted road along with some outposts. And again, the ruined tower that we saw from earlier. There's also work being done on an aqueduct along with a watermill. Watermill would be what you call that, wouldn't it? Goetia Miniatures has shown us the Unborn Legion. And I apologize if this is offensive, but I would say this is one of the more disturbing releases I have ever seen. Here's Drazum the Flesh Host and Kalor the Unborn Blade. We'll look at the other models in more detail once November starts. Goonmaster Games has shown us previews of Humble Hummingbirds. They seem equipped and ready to go. Highlands Miniatures is doing the Sons of Marduk this month, and these are obviously like chaos dwarfs, but they are inspired apparently by ancient Assyrian and Babylonian cultures, and I like that. It's a different inspiration than normal, and I think it kind of fits their motif, their theme. Imp3 Desion has shown us this preview for November. Apparently there will be a couple of rock giants, some orc heads, orcs goblin slingers, orcs nailers, and some teethies. I'm going to put those over the sci-fi video too, because they seem to be some sci-fi there. Labyrinth Models is switching from Egypt to knights, knight helms and shields, some mounted knights. These come in several different varieties. You can also, for your joust, have several different fences in the middle of your setup, along with some practice dummies. And you can see here a couple of those dividers in the middle there. There will also be some tents. I thought it was kind of neat to see how they envisioned them being assembled, as well as some knights, squires, and a trumpeter. On the right, I remember Disney's Sword in the Stone, like, Kay's got to have a sword. Last Sword Miniatures, the Bannerman Dwarf Catapult. These are work in progress images, and Dwarf Iron Legion. We have dwarves again. So tempting, y'all. Loot Studios in November is doing Dawn Keep Assault. Here's Elmic Silversong, Dara Willowbeam, and a Scarlet Wizard, just to kind of give you a taste of what's coming. Low Level Encounter has given us this roadmap, so it appears in November it's going to be the Dungforge Swarm. Okay, I'm not sure what to expect for that. MOMMiniatures has a relatively huge release in November. Wow, the Green Bellies. They say it's valued at $124, and I can see that. So we're going to look at some of these. We'll look at them more once November starts. But here are the Cavalry on Foot. Can someone explain that to me? How does the Cavalry on Foot? Have they lost their rides, or I don't know. And Light Cavalry on Rams. And these are halflings, as you can see, with their feet out. Lancers that are Green Bellies, and Militia. Wooden shields there, and we have a cannon and rocket launcher, and a couple of captains, wizard and warrior priests as well. And there's a few other sculpts we'll look at more when the month of November actually approaches. One Page Rules has teased some dwarven riders. I'm not sure what to call this exactly. Some sort of clockwork, steamwork mount. Definitely a bit different. It's almost like a dwarf centaur, isn't it? Papal 3D has shown goblins and trolls. They have a cave troll, naturally. Really looking forward to this release. Again, Papal never ceases to amaze me every month. And being able to look at these, and is that guy summoning bats? Wow. Really cool to look ahead. They also put out Shadow and Flame, so not only do they have a cave troll, they have a Balrog. Wow. It just never ends. The printing goes ever on, as I don't know why I put it in this video, but This Vampire Lord in Bathtub is actually a free miniature you can go and pick up on their website right now. I think I meant to include this in the October video, but you know what, it just works as well. So be sure to go check out For Printing Goes Ever On and get you a free Vampire Lord in Bathtub miniature. Reconquer Designs wanted to do some famous people, so here is Bertrand du Guesclin. I know I butchered that name there. Apparently, also in November, there will be some mid-14th century knights charging. Rescale Miniatures has given us a little bit of a look ahead of the Ancient Order Immortalis. This is the Nocturne Assembly, and Lord Vermilion over on the right. This Nocturne Assembly apparently is many different models. I do find the one carrying, what is that? Well, actually it's two of them. Carrying like a cannon, basically. Pretty effective. And then we have an Elder Brain Dragon. Okay. Threat Factory has given us a small preview of the apparently Hobgoblin will be the theme for the month of November. Titan Forge has put out a preview as well for the Ursa Empire, which has got to be one of the more characterful releases from them in recent. So we have this guy riding a giant bear, and then it's not just a rooster. I'm pretty sure that's a cockatrice. So don't look at it. Here we have a guy on a drunk horseback, showing a little bit more than I think most of us would care to see. And here seems to be a few more guys. And are those tentacles looking out of your robe? Of course, we have some bear riders and some people, some foot soldiers as well. For the heroes, Titans of Adventure, there will be these three characters that come usually with different weapon options. And for the mortal enemies, there's, what would you call that? A Hydra snake? Just a snake priest? I'm not sure. Vae Victis Miniatures has given us a small preview of Cultists Volume 2 coming up in November. So we'll be sure to check this out in November once that month hits. Warp Miniatures has just put us a little teaser image out there, and apparently November is not just November, it's Gnomevember. They always do amazing with their gnomes, so I look forward to seeing these. White Angel Miniatures has shown us Beastmen for November, so there's a look at pretty much everything you'll be getting in November, and we'll be sure to come back and look at this in a lot more detail than what we're looking at right now at this moment. I did want to put the Giant in there as well because, I don't know, I'm all about big miniatures, and I always find those interesting. White Werewolf Tavern has given us concept art, and the art is always just as beautiful as their models. Here is Rika Sharpwind, so the theme this month apparently is Bustling Bazaar. Here is Beatrix Wordwright, Clover Mossroot, a Scaled Dancer, a Loot Goblin. I don't really like his nose, I'm sorry to say, but I love the fact that there's a Loot Goblin here. And here's a Market Guard, which gives me a lot of Labyrinth vibes. Do y'all get that too? Worldforge Miniatures is doing Nori Akido Gardens. So really cool for any that are looking for Oriental styled miniatures, or terrain for those miniatures, like ponds and trees, some walls and gates, and obviously you could print as many of these as you needed to make your garden as big or as small as you would like. And we'll look more at those when the month of November actually hits. Well, folks, thank you for watching my video. We are getting really close to that 1,000 subscriber mark, and I'm hoping that these videos will actually kick us over that edge. And I really appreciate those of you that have watched and watched this far. Thank you for your support. It means the world. For many of you are just silent watchers and viewers, and you are not unknown to me. So well, you know, other than obvious, but you get the idea. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.